13 years ago, this car stunned the automotive world while simultaneously infuriating exotic car fanboys across the globe. Why? Well, because this car was beating everything that it was pitted against. The only thing that could claim victory over this car were million-dollar supercars. The other infuriating part for the competition was that this car only cost a fraction of anything comparable. Want to take a guess on what this car could be? Here's a hint. Just listen. If you know cars, then you'll know that's absolutely the C6 Corvette Zr1. The chair that I was sitting in is really nice, but I decided to come to my shop to tell you about the Zr1. Yeah, totally real. 13 years ago, 2009, when that C6 Zr1 came out, you know what else was new back then? This flip phone. And nothing special performance about that. But the Zr1 still, to this day, has amazing performance. Besides extreme electric cars, you can get a brand new supercar, sports car that has comparable performance numbers. Back then, everybody was blown away by the performance of this car. But you don't just have to take my word for it.
When we first tested the 2009 Chevrolet Corvette Zr1 last fall, we came away gushing with praise.
Easily the most talked about automobile for 2009. This is Chevrolet's awesome Corvette Zr1.
Corvette had better get themselves a new pair of underpants because they just got a bigger set of balls.
It's a rocket ship. This is the greatest American car in the history of our country. This is what the founding fathers wanted us to be driving.
That was one wild ride.
The Zr1 debuted, the new ultimate Corvette.
The incredible 638 horsepower Corvette Zr1.
Specification time. So what made the C6 Zr1 so incredible? Let's dig into the details. First off, performance numbers. Everybody wants to know what numbers this baby will pull. Zero to 60 miles an hour can be achieved between 3.3 seconds to 3.5 seconds. From a complete standstill to 100 miles an hour, this will do it in 7.5 seconds. The quarter mile flies by in 11.2 seconds at 130 miles an hour. But just slap on some sticky drag radials, and you can knock that down to 10.7 seconds. This powerhouse has a top speed of 205 miles per hour. Insane braking power will rip your face off, with 60 mile an hour to 0 in just 97 feet. Ultra grippy Michelin Pilot Sport PS2 tires allow this vet to get 1.10 lateral G. The engine is a 6.2 liter supercharged V8, making 638 horsepower at 6,500 RPM and 604 pound-feet at 3,800 RPM. Those are still ridiculously impressive performance numbers to this day. And you couldn't match that unless you bought a $1 billion supercar. And I'm exaggerating a little bit, but not entirely. If you wanted anything that was comparable, not that it could beat it, but comparable, you would have to spend twice the money. So it's not just performance numbers that made this car special. The Zr1 boasts a lot of firsts, and the engineering was extraordinary. The C6 Zr1 was the fastest car GM had ever produced, and the LS9 was the most powerful engine they had ever put into a production car. Every engine for the Zr1 was hand-built by a master engine builder. After each engine was assembled, they were balanced and rigorously tested to make sure each one operates perfectly. The only transmission offering was a traditional 6-speed manual. No flappy paddle gearbox here. A protective clear coat for the carbon fiber roof was developed in-house just for the Zr1. At the time, it cost $60,000 per gallon. Carbon ceramic brakes were extremely uncommon, only destined for the most expensive supercars. The Zr1 has 4 massive carbon ceramic discs, 15.5 inches in the front and 15 inches in the rear. The fronts are taken from the Ferrari FXX and from the Ferrari Enzo at the rear. Carbon fiber was extensively used in the Zr1. Carbon fiber roof, hood, front and side fenders, front lip, side skirts, and other various bits. GM's magnetic ride control provided the Zr1 with world-class handling. This system monitors and makes necessary adjustments 1,000 times per second. When it was new, the Zr1 held the fastest production car lap time at the Nürburgring. For the first time, Michelin tires were used as original equipment on a Corvette. We all know that Michelin Pilot Sport PS2 tires offer amazing track performance, but did you know they're also run flats? Meaning that because of the sidewall stiffness, you can run these with 0 air pressure for 100 miles at 55 miles per hour. Components have to be beefy to withstand the brute force of the LS9, but sturdier parts are heavier, so to shave weight off the Zr1, balsa and carbon fiber floor panels were implemented, as well as hydroformed aluminum space frame, aluminum suspension components, and magnesium castings for the roof reinforcement and the front cradle. The carbon ceramic rotors also reduce weight, nearly 50% lighter than the Z06's iron rotors. So you may have heard before that this car is codenamed Blue Devil. And it wasn't just because the creators wanted to give their car a cute little name. It's because they had to develop this car in secret. They didn't want the bigwigs to know what was really going on behind the scenes. The ultimate Corvette was being designed in secret, with very ambitious goals. Make a car capable of reaching 200 miles per hour, and an engine putting down at least 100 horsepower per liter. The engineers quietly siphoned money away from the general Corvette Development Fund to feed their top-secret beast, the Blue Devil. No one wants to spill the beans on exactly how much money was spent on the Blue Devil, but we do know it was somewhere in the millions of dollars. After several months of keeping this amazing car under wraps, it was finally brought up. GM gave it the green light, and production began. The C6 Zr1 that we know and love had a chance of never coming to fruition. Thankfully, it did. The C6 Zr1 raised the bar for the entire automotive world, and not just in the realm of typical American car straight-line speed, it also dominated the twisty tracks. Suddenly the likes of Porsche, Ferrari, Lamborghini were put on notice. A brash and unrefined, or so they thought, American car was taking the top spot. It caused automakers across the globe to rethink what a supercar is and how to improve. The Zr1 paved the way for the now current supercar technologies and understanding. There's few cars in history that are so spectacular that they change the way the world looks at how a supercar is done correctly. The C6 Zr1 is one of those few. As Jeremy Clarkson says, this car is a masterpiece.
This is a masterpiece!
I've always loved the C6 Zr1, and I think it's probably the best sounding car, my favorite sounding car out there. And there's a lot of good ones, but definitely the C6 Zr1, that's gotta be at the top. Anyways, I have been following the development of this car ever since it was announced. I was in high school at the time. I believe I was a junior in high school, following this development. And I have this magazine here from 2008, and they talk about the Zr1. Obviously, since it's a little bit early, they didn't have all the details fleshed out, so they actually say in here 620 horsepower, 200 mile an hour plus. And the idea that they didn't say 638 horsepower is because, yeah, they didn't know. But they said 620 horsepower because the engineer said they're going to try to develop this engine to make 100 horsepower per liter. So that makes sense. 6.2 liters, 100 horsepower per liter, 620 horsepower. Like I said, I love this car. I thought I knew just about everything about it, but while doing research for this video, I learned even more. So I hope that you found it informative too and entertaining, learned some new stuff. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. That would be the greatest thing that you could do. I would really appreciate it. Thanks for checking it out. I will see you all next time.